Self-love is the new sexy, the podcast devoted to helping you overcome life's most painful and stubborn challenges so you can feel great, have more energy, and live stress-free every day. To reach your full potential, simply work with the powerful spiritual principles that are readily accessible to everyone. It's easier than you think, and on today's show, W. Mark Watts is going to show you how starting with self-love is the key to joyously and harmoniously making that happen.
Hey everybody, it's W. Mark Watts. Thanks for hanging out with me for another episode of Self-Love is Sexy. And in today's episode, we're going to kind of get into it and get out of here today fairly quickly and cleanly. But today's episode is I want to give some examples of self-love directly from my life, because oftentimes when I speak with people, that's one of the first things that they ask me, like, what does self-love mean? What does it really mean in my life? Give me some examples. So I think it's important, especially early on in the show, to give some real life concrete examples of just what self-love looks like on a daily basis. And again, self-love is all about doing things that make you happy, doing things that satisfy your soul, doing things that help you move toward your goals, doing things that just really feel good when you think about it, that bring a smile to your face, that are, of course, positive and, not life-threatening to anyone else, including yourself, but things that really are in concert with who you are as a person. That's what self-love is about. And again, that is our main goal here. And I can't stress that enough. I think oftentimes we really get confused because we've never really been taught, or no one's ever reinforced the fact that we have one job here on earth. And that job is to experience the fullness of this life in a happy and joyful way. And in order to do that, you've got to put yourself first. And once you put yourself first, then you are full and whole enough. Your cup is full enough. You have enough energy. You have enough joy, enough happiness, enough peace to really consistently be that to anyone else and everything else in the environment, in your environment, in the world, because you've taken care of yourself. And you will find, believe it or not, you will find that when you do focus on yourself, when you really focus on loving yourself, everything else in your life gets better. Trust me, because I've not always done that. There's been many times when I've put other people first before me. And then what happens, and projects. And so what happens is then now I've spread myself so thin, and I'm not really able to contribute my best to everything else that I'm attempting to do because I haven't taken care of myself first. Just think about it this way. If you start with the glass that's half full of water, say it's half full, say that's you, that's me. And then I pour some of that water out into 3 or 4 different glasses. How much water do I have left in my glass? Very little. But that's what we do as human beings. We start with the half full glass, or a 3/4 full glass, or a 1/4 full glass, and we pour ourselves out. We pour our water out to everybody else. And then we wake up and our cup is empty. Well, it's because, number one, we didn't start with a full glass. And number two, we didn't constantly refill that glass. And we'll talk about how to refill that glass. And even some of the examples tonight will be examples of how to keep that cup full so that you don't ever run out and you can continue to give out because you're constantly refilling.
We hope you're enjoying today's show. If so, please take a moment to show your support for the show by leaving us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. If you have questions for W. Mark Watts, please feel free to contact him over at wmarkwatts.com, on Instagram at wmarkwatts, or on Facebook at Self-Love is the New Sexy.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump into some quick examples of self-love in my life, or me loving myself. So number one is choosing to meditate. And I meditate as much or as little as I want, but I do know that I will forever meditate unless there comes a time when I really don't feel like it's feeding my soul anymore, or I don't need to. But I can't ever really foresee that being the case. However, I meditate. That's one of the first things I do in the morning. Most times it's the first thing I do is I meditate. How long depends on how long I want to do it. Just depends. Sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes it's a couple minutes, sometimes it's 10, sometimes 15. Kind of depends on how much I feel that I really need that morning. What's my spirit talking to me like? What does it feel like I need to do? That's what I do. And then oftentimes I'll do it before I go to bed as well. And then I meditate some during the day. Meditation doesn't have to be something that's 30 minutes or an hour long. Meditation can be in a minute. It can be 3 minutes. It can be 7 minutes, 10 minutes. There's no rules to meditation. What feels right for you is what you should do. So I meditate. That's one way I love on myself. It makes me feel good. It helps me stay centered. It allows me to focus better. It allows me to what? Feel good. Again, I want to emphasize that. I can't emphasize that enough. What makes you feel good? That's what you should do. So another example of me loving myself was this past weekend was Valentine's Day weekend. And even though I did not have a date and I was not dating out with anyone in particular, my sister was calling me and texting me on the weekend. And so I did not answer her text and her phone calls because I wanted alone time. I wanted to do things that I wanted to do. I wanted to watch some movies. I wanted to work on some of my professional projects. And I wanted peace and quiet. I didn't want to talk to anybody. So I had the choice to respond to the text and answer the phone calls, but I chose not to because I wanted that time for myself. And it's okay for me to want that time for myself. Why? Because I'm filling my cup up. Having that silence, having that time alone, unencumbered by anybody else's conversations or wants or intrusions is what I wanted to fill my soul this past weekend. So that's what I did. I take that time to fill my soul, and it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about it or what they want because there was no emergencies. I just wanted that time for me. So I took that time for myself because I wanted to love myself. Another thing I do is exercise. I love exercise. I've been active since as long as I can remember. And so that will always be a part of my life. My exercise regimen has changed and shifted over the years, but it's still a part of who I am. I feel good. I like to move around. And now as I get older, I feel better when I move around because I do spend a fair amount of time sitting down. So I make a point to get up and move around and stretch my body and stretch my legs and just increase my heart rate so that my lungs get a chance to expand more and more. And exercise, it's been proven. This is, you can look this up anywhere you want to. It releases all of the chemicals that really make us feel good. And our body's designed to move. So exercise is will always be a part of my life that I really enjoy, really makes me feel good. Really, it's really consistent with who I am as a person. So it's good for me on so many different levels. And also things that I do like studying. I'm an avid learner, so I will always learn. So I'm always looking to learn things. I'm always looking to read more. I'm always looking to listen to people talk about things. And I'm a big observer of people as well. So I watch people who are really into what they're doing because I'm always looking for another way to get better, another way to improve, or just learn something new to me. Like, for example, tonight I'm watching a show on TV about volcanoes around the world because volcanoes play an intricate piece in the formation of life on Earth. And I didn't know that. So when I heard that, I thought, that caught my attention. So I'm paying attention. I'm learning about volcanoes. Today, I had no idea I was going to be watching something about volcanoes, but I am. Why? Because it feeds my soul. It's something that I want to do. It enriches who I am. And it doesn't matter if anybody else thinks it's a good idea or not. I don't care. I'm going to take this time for myself and I'm going to do it and I'm going to enjoy doing it. And again, that's the other piece of it is do things that you enjoy doing, really focus. I mean, now, especially as I've gotten older, I tend to do things that I really want to do and really like doing it. If I don't want to do it, guess what? I am not going to do it. I've spent some time in my life doing some things that I really didn't want to do because I felt like I should do it for this person, or I should do it for that person, or I should do it because it's right. Well, now here it goes. Here's my test. Does it feel good? Does it feel right to me? If it doesn't, I don't do it. If it does, I do it. That's my very simple test. And I think everyone will be okay with that decision. Now, might they get a little miffed here or there? Absolutely. But guess what? That's not my problem. That is their deal to work through, because we all should have the ability to make the decisions that we want that are best for us. And everybody should be accepting of that, because that's what really makes this thing work well, is when everyone's comfortable doing what they want to do and happy doing what they want to do. So I'm going to close with this. So, those are just some examples of the things that I do in real time in my life today, right now. But I want you to really look at your life and think about what things really make you happy. What hobbies, what goals do you have? When you think about anything in your life, it could be spending time with someone. What really makes you feel good? And it, right away when you think about it. How does it make you feel? What are your thoughts? What images come to mind? Those are the things that you got to fill your life with more of, because that's all that self-love really is. And those things. Don't be afraid of what makes you feel good and what you want to do in terms of your profession, your entertainment, your free time, your curiosity, all of that stuff. Think about it, and we've got to really spend time doing that. A lot of times we take for granted that life is just going to show up happy for us and everything's just going to be simple and easy. It can be, but it takes some thought and it takes some intentional efforts, and you really have to go toward those things that you really want to do. Because if you don't have a plan for your life and you don't focus on the things that you want to do and being happy and loving yourself, it's going to be more difficult for anybody else to do that for you. So that's all I have for you today. I hope that this helps you and gives you some concrete examples. And if not, shoot me a note, leave a comment, let me know, and I'll give you some more examples, and we can continue this dialogue as we go along down this journey on self-love is the new sexy. So until next episode, continue to take care of yourself, and I look forward to speaking with you all again real soon. Bye now.
You've been listening to Self-Love is the New Sexy with W. Mark Watts. If you enjoyed today's show, be sure to tell a friend. Also, make sure you never miss an episode by subscribing to our show on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, or wherever you listen to podcasts.